What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Guys, this is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from different comic book companies. Today, we're going to jump back over to DC Comics and continue our coverage over the Night Terrors event. Now remember, when it comes to Night Terrors, it is DC's big 2023 event going on right now. With that being said, it's all about the idea that there's a new character out there known as Insomnia who's right now looking for something called the Nightmare Stone. Now, for him to find the Nightmare Stone, he has to dive into people's nightmares as a way to find the Nightmare Stone. And so we cover the first two chapters of the main storyline, and we saw that homeboy Insomnia was able to put the entire world to sleep so that he'll be able to actually jump around to people's nightmares to hopefully find the Nightmare Stone. Now, with that being said, though, right now, all the tie-ins to the main series focuses on a particular character or a set of characters to explore their nightmares, to learn more about their fears. But at the same time, it's still Insomnia right now going inside their nightmares looking for the Nightmare Stone. Now, today's video focuses on the Flash, and we're going to learn what his nightmares is all about while you have Insomnia trying to make him go through a nightmare to hopefully find the Nightmare Stone. And so getting into the opening pages of this book, we actually do pick up with Barry Allen right now being a CSI agent. And of course, right now, that means that he is collecting evidence for a particular case. Now, while he's doing that right there, it's also the moment he begins to remember the time he told Iris that he was the Flash. Now, when he told Iris that he was the Flash, she did have a lot of questions that he was able to answer. But her questions were really more about, what do you see when you're out there being a Flash and you're moving so fast? Now, he was able to answer those questions, but as the story goes on, you can tell right off the bat that Barry does not realize that right now he is in a nightmare. Insomnia had put him to sleep, and right now he is about to experience his nightmare. And the reason why I say his nightmare is about to begin, because while he's right now being a CSI agent and collecting evidence, well, that is the moment you have Iris contact him and say, I need you right now because something happened to Wally West. And as soon as she said Wally, bam, he was gone just like that. Super speed. He got there to her quickly to see what in the world happened to Wally. And so that is the moment where we actually do jump over to the hospital. And when we do pick up right now with Wally West in the hospital because apparently he was fighting against Grodd. Now, when he was fighting against Grodd, apparently someone said he slowed down. It was kind of like Wally West ran full speed at Grodd, but right at the moment where he was right in front of Grodd, he slowed down and then he was stabbed. But the question is, though, what has stabbed Wally West? Now, that is the moment you have Jay Garrick get there. And Jay is the original Flash. Now, when he arrives, he tells Barry, hey, man, listen, when it came to Wally, he did not want to wait for me. He left without me, fought against Grodd, and now he is seriously injured. Now, you would think, okay, he got stabbed. But when it comes to Flashes, they do have a healing factor in some kind of way. And so why isn't Wally healing up? Well, guys, this is a nightmare. Now, they do tell us why he's not healing up. But again, this is a nightmare. We have to pretend that the healing factor for Wally is not going to work right now. Either way, this is where the big moment comes in. Because you think that, okay, it's Wally, he got hurt. We're going to see Wally as an adult, but we're not. We're going to see Wally as a child when he was Kid Flash still. And so when Barry walks into the room, he does see Wally right now on the hospital bed, bleeding out, but he is Kid Flash still. Now, this is where things get a tad bit more interesting, because you have Wally tell Barry that right when he was about to attack Grodd, he saw something in the Speed Force. Something was there, and when he saw that thing in the Speed Force, it slowed him down. And of course, he ended up getting stabbed. And that's where we are right now. something happened in the Speed Force that technically caused Wally to slow down. And Wally said he saw some kind of monster in the Speed Force, and that's the reason why he slowed down. And so now it's Barry wondering, what did Wally actually see? And so that is the moment where we actually do see Barry Allen go over to Iron Heights. Now remember, when it comes to Iron Heights is literally the prison that holds most of the villains of Barry Allen, the Flash. Now with that being said, he came here to talk to Grodd, because if Grodd was there fighting against Wally West, that means Grodd may have saw something while fighting against Wally West. Because we have to remember, Grodd does have a connection to the Speed Force like Barry and Wally. But here comes the big thing. When you do have Barry go to question Grodd, at first you have Grodd just teasing Barry about the idea that Wally got hurt. Now Barry does his best to ignore the teasing and continues to question Grodd and tells Grodd, I want to know what you saw, because something was there helping you to take down Wally West. Now, for Grodd, he says right off the bat, I did not see anything at all. But of course, when it comes to Grodd, he does not stop there. He tells Barry, hey, when you find out who helped me, I want you to tell them thank you, because they helped me take down Kid Flash and now you're hurting. He continues to tease Barry. Now, Barry does use his powers to go in the cell to fight against Grodd. When I say fight, I really mean more of Barry beating down on Grodd. Now, this right here usually would not happen, but because this is a nightmare, things that Barry wouldn't do usually are happening right now. Things that Barry wouldn't go through usually are also happening right now. Like, for example, Kid Flash almost dying, but not being able to heal. That right there is because it's a nightmare right now. And so right now, it's Barry realizing that he just attacked Grodd while he's in prison and literally could have killed him. And so you have Barry just leave to go back to Iris. But getting back over to the hospital, well, that is the moment where we do pick up with this guy. Now, this guy is more proof that right now Barry is in a nightmare. And the reason why, because you do have this guy right now constantly talking about his daughter. Like something major happened to his daughter. I want to say she died. But here's the thing. When you have Barry walk by, or really run by, you have him stop Barry. And when he does, he asks Barry one particular question. Why in the world is it snowing right now in June? It's June. Why in the world is it snowing? Now for Barry, he's just moving on, because right now he is worried about Wally. Now, he does see Iris, and right now Iris is outside the hospital just trying to get some time to herself. Now, she does tell Barry that Dr. Fate is there and he's also trying to help Wally, but unfortunately, Dr. Fate can't do anything either, which is show you that this is a true nightmare, because usually in the real world, Dr. Fate would have been able to help Wally, but because this is a nightmare, Dr. Fate can't do anything at all. And so you have Barry leave again because he really wants to help out Wally. He wants to save Wally's life. And so right now, it's him leaving to figure out how in the world can he save Wally West's life. And so that is the moment where we actually do see Wally West go to the watchtower. Now, this makes sense. And the reason why, because if you're Wally and you're trying to technically save the life of someone close to you, why not bring in the Justice League? A great cast of people who may be able to find a way to actually save Wally West's life. Unfortunately, we have to remember at this point in DC Comics, there is no Justice League. And so when he gets there, the watchtower is dead. It's completely dark. Now, he is confronted by Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern. But here is the big thing. This is a different Hal. This is the Hal from the 1990s, the one that turned evil and became Parallax. But then at the very end of the 1990s, he wanted to be a good guy again. And so in the storyline known as Final Night, he did technically sacrifice himself as a way to save the Earth. Now in this nightmare, even though he did the same thing he did in Final Night, he didn't die. Like his body quit, his heart stopped pumping, but because his willpower is so strong that technically right now, his willpower is keeping him alive. which honestly is a tad bit messed up. Now, you also have Hal kind of tease Barry, for not being there when he had quote unquote died in Final Night. Because at that point in the 1990s, Barry was quote unquote dead. He was not around at all. He was stuck in the Speed Force. And so when Hal died, no, you had Wally West as Flash, not Barry. But again, Barry feels bad because now he sees his best friend as some kind of zombie. And he feels like if he was there in the 1990s, maybe, just maybe, Hal would have not turned to Parallax, became this crazy killer, and then at the end had to kill himself to save the world. Things could have been different. Either way, right now, you have Barry telling Hal, I need to go into the Speed Force to figure out how to save Wally. And I feel like the best way to do that is to use the Cosmic Treadmill. Now, usually the Cosmic Treadmill is used to travel back in time or forward in time, but at the same time for the Flash to go into the Speed Force. And so right now you have Hal using his Green Lantern ring to power up the treadmill so that Barry will be able to go into the Speed Force to figure out what happened to Wally. And so that is the moment where we do jump over to Barry Allen right now being in the Speed Force. And with him right now being inside the Speed Force, this is Barry trying to figure out what happened to Wally. Because remember, Wally saw something in the Speed Force that made him slow down, that got him stabbed by Grodd. And so right now, he's just rewatching the entire battle between Wally and Grodd. But while watching that battle and trying to see what happened to Wally, you have Barry say it looked like Wally was going to lose at first, but then Wally was able to get back on his feet and take over the battle, where it did seem like maybe he'll be able to actually stop Grodd. But then the big moment came. The moment where you had Wally supposed to defeat Grodd, but something slowed him down and got him stabbed. And so you have Barry say to himself, you know what? I'm going to save Wally here. I don't care if, the whole entire world breaks or a new timeline is born. I am going to save Wally because I promised Jay, I promised Iris, I will protect Wally. And so right now you have Wally about to punch Grodd. And so this is Barry saying, let me go ahead and save Wally here and now. Because if I'm able to actually do that, then Wally will be okay in the present day. And so when Barry runs up there to save Wally, well, here comes the big problem. When he gets there, he's still too slow. Wally gets stabbed. But again, we kind of find out the creature that Wally saw that made Wally slow down. What Wally saw in the Speed Force was Barry. It was Barry in the Speed Force, but going back in time to that moment, and he's the reason why Wally got stabbed, because Wally saw Barry. And so you have the Speed Force trying to kick Barry out of the Speed Force, but you have Barry say, now I know what Wally saw, the monster he saw. It was me. If I did not go in the Speed Force, go back in time to try to save Wally, then Wally would not got stabbed because Wally saw me, and that what slowed him down. And so Barry is the monster. But this is where we're going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below. Because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.